What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural edition of this year's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher to walk you through tonight's two-game slate, NBA opening night. The NBA is back in our lives. The injury report is not back in our lives just yet. NBA.com's official injury report is down right now, but we will walk through all the different injuries on this slate to help get you prepared for your DFS lineups, your spread bets, your prop bets, so on. So forth. With me to do it, as always, is Mike Gallagher. Mike, how are you?
Doing great. Love to have the NBA back. Of course, I tweet out matchups, and then 5 minutes later, Bradley Beal not expected to play. Typical NBA fashion, right? So, yeah, feeling good. And my garage door broke yesterday, so that was fun when I was trying to write and everything. So it's been a little hectic over here. Found in a good groove. I got 4 games done for tomorrow, for this monster tomorrow. But yeah, really fun little 2-game slate, ring night. But yeah, a lot of injury. I mean, every team's got something to talk about for a 4-game slate for the opener. So should be a good show.
It's wild. As always, for rotation notes specifically on these 4 teams, I think there's a lot of edge early in the season on rotation stuff. If you are behind the paywall at establishedrun.com with our NBA draft kit, you will have gotten all sorts of updates in the change log from Mike on rotation stuff. He's going to carry that over to the DFS show behind the paywall tonight for in-season DFS subscribers. We'll talk through all of that stuff because I do think on a 2-game slate, it's oftentimes the back end of the rotations that are more important than the main guys even. So we're going to hold those rotation notes for subscribers. We will talk just injuries. Want to just like throw that out there for everybody asking about, rotations and whatnot. We'll see you at the DFS show. Okay, let's start with, we'll just go kind of game by game, team by team here with the injury notes. Los Angeles Lakers. Jared Vanderbilt, a player who's been very durable throughout his career, not available during much of the preseason. They've started Taurean Prince in his spot, basically all preseason long. He's going to be the starter tonight. What are your thoughts on Taurean Prince as a starter? Is he a starter in name only? Is he, we've talked about like the Keith Bogan starting role in the past where you get a handful of minutes to start each half. We know they like Rui Hachimura. We know they invested something in Christian Wood in the back end of this offseason as well. What are your thoughts on Taurean Prince from a minutes perspective tonight?
So any other night, I'd feel way better, but we know that the Lakers love this Rui Hachimura guarding Jokic thing. So I think in that regard, it's a little bit tough to feel confident about him playing, upper 20s minutes. But really all signs, really since Vando went down, it's kind of been Prince's job to lose. So I'm expecting him to have a pretty big role. Maybe low 20s minutes. Certainly a lot of Vando. A lot of Rui filling in there. And we'll see, Gabe Vincent, who missed some time with a back injury. He said he would have played in this last preseason game that I have on the screen. So he should be good to go. So we'll get a little bit of that. And that should be it. We'll see if Max Christie's in the rotation. He was kind of holding Gabe's spot. So he's a guy who could get booted there. And we'll see how big they're going to go. We'll talk more about that a little bit later with the Jackson Case, Christian Wood stuff in this matchup with just so much size on the other end.
Other back-end notes there, as you allude to, Gabe Vincent, who missed the last preseason game, not listed on the injury report, so expect him to be available. Jalen Hood-Schifino, the rookie draft pick for the Lakers, listed as out. Would not have expected him to be in the rotation regardless, so no big change there. Let's move to the champs. The champs, I hear. The Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. missed a lot of time during the course of the preseason with an ankle issue. He has said it's all systems go for him. Christian Braun's also missed some time during the preseason. A tough start kind of for defending your championship when 2 of your key rotation players on a relatively thin rotation entered the season banged up. So in the dress rehearsal, we saw Hunter Tyson starting, which is not something we would expect to see Hunter Tyson minutes tonight. It sounds like MPJ and Christian Braun are good to go. Do you think there will be any limitations there?
MPJ has been practicing since, I believe, October 16th, so he's been ramping up pretty comfortably. They were taking some time for what was a pretty severe ankle sprain that kept him out. But yeah, I expect him to go. A little bit of a limitation on him, I would think, given his injury history and missing so much time for this, what he called a grade 3 ankle sprain, which was kind of stunning to hear. Christian Braun's a little bit behind. I'd say based on as far as recovery goes, he's about a week behind because he was only doing treadmill stuff when MPJ was going through full practice about 9-10 days ago. So I'm a little bit more worried about Christian Braun's minutes. Will they be comfortable playing Julian Strawther is a big question, who was one of the darlings of the preseason. You mentioned Hunter Tyson starting the first half of the dress rehearsal, but actually coming off the bench in the second half as they got Justin Holiday in there. And it's basically, are they going to play Justin Holiday? Are they going to play Strother, I mentioned? And then are they going to play Peyton Watson, who was really one of the biggest losers of the preseason, going in as arguably the 7th man and coming out possibly as the 11th man in the rotation. But the stars are good to go. We know Jamal Murray's ready for a big season. The year of Murray, everyone's calling it. Jokic will be good to go. KCP's been healthy really along. Aaron Gordon as well. So they've got their main guys, but the answer of filling in for Bruce Brown is quite difficult to answer right now.
Yep. And we'll talk more about our guesses on the rotation stuff in the DFS show. We'll also note that, the matchup with the Lakers could also lead to some specific things as well in terms of maybe, we saw Zeke Naji operate as the primary backup for Jokic during the course of the season. I think he'll get that role again tonight, but there's a chance DeAndre Jordan gets a few minutes if they feel like his size is needed against Anthony Davis. There's a chance Peyton Watson leapfrogs somebody that we saw him behind in the rotation simply if they think his defense is something that they want to deploy against LeBron or something like that. There's the chance that some of these things happen. We'll talk about it more in depth on the DFS show. All right, Let's move to the Suns, who have already rued the day. The Phoenix Suns national TV game, all this offseason talk about how you need to better handle injury reporting, can't miss guys on preseason games. Bradley Beal has been gone from, game time decision questionable to unlikely to play, not expected to play tonight with a back issue. He played in one of their final preseason games, not this one that you have up on the screen, but he played just like last Monday, basically. So a little bit surprising to see Bradley Beal ruled out. And now they're saying Devin Booker is a true game time decision, 50-50, whether Devin Booker will be able to play tonight. And look, we've talked all offseason about Phoenix and the depth issues that they would potentially have with this roster. I think they did a nice job throughout the offseason in finishing out the depth on this roster, acquiring guys like Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, Keita Bates-Diop, so on and so forth. But if they're going to be down Booker and Beal somehow, this would be a really, really thin team with the Kevin Durant show. So what's your read on Booker's availability tonight? Obviously, from the DFS perspective, from props perspective, if you thought Booker was unable to go, then Kevin
Booker
Durant. Okay.
I was going to say Booker told Dwayne Rankin of the Arizona Republic that he's going to play. And we've kind of always seen really that that he told Dwayne Rankin that he's going to play today, which was kind of expected. It seemed like he was a little bit ahead despite missing practice and all that stuff for a toe injury. So we'll see if he's going to be managed there, but should be good. And we saw him, play a lot of minutes, especially in the postseason late. So a huge role, not only running the point, but running the second unit as well, being staggered and just massive ball handling, huge upside, and what should be a pretty good matchup. With maybe we'll see how the Warriors start it, but they may want to put Wiggins on Durant. I think they're going to start Chris Paul, which we could talk about in a second. But Booker should be good. So we're going to expect Grayson Allen to get the start. We saw Grayson Allen start for Beal, generally subbing behind him in the preseason. So that was pretty clear that they're treating it as one position. They kind of like him there. It gives a little bit of ball handling. I think you actually want a little bit more defense in this matchup too. So I think it makes sense to start Grayson Allen. They'll have Jordan Goodwin behind him. Eric Wood will take the Booker minutes, and then probably sprinkle in some other. This probably makes Gordon probably a little bit more likely to close. So that's something that's all kind of working here. But again, Grayson Allen probably starting, Jordan Goodwin probably in the rotation now. I think Nasir Little's rotation spot is a little more secure. We saw him leapfrog Keita Bates-Diop in the last game. Second unit basically of Eric Gordon, Grayson Allen. They're probably going to go with Yuta Watanabe as their backup 3. I mentioned Nasir Little and Drew Eubanks would be their 10. Maybe they go small. They didn't really go small a lot, but that's kind of how I'm thinking for their 10-man rotation.
All right. Let's move to the Golden State side of things. No Draymond Green tonight. You mentioned expectation that Chris Paul would be in the starting lineup. What are your thoughts on what the starting lineup looks like and how they try to accommodate? And does this impact how the game could be played on the whole without Draymond Green? It's a lot of, the Warriors are a team that's always gone small with Draymond Green at the 5. They're a team that roster build wise looked like they were prepared to do that again this year. and now no Draymond Green in the opener. So what are your thoughts on how this impacts things for the Warriors?
Yeah, so had this been not, opening night, I think they would honestly start Kuminga, but I think Chris Paul's comments early in media day over the offseason saying he wanted to start, like you could say, okay, we had the best lineup in the NBA with Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Looney, and Draymond. Now Draymond's out. You don't really have that card to play to kind of keep Chris Paul cool. So I think they're going to start Chris Paul. We saw them start Chris Paul next to Steph in their last preseason game. Their true dress rehearsal game was this one. Would Steph hit the game-winning three? So I think it's going to be Steph, CP3, Clay, Wiggins, and Looney in the first unit. But I think we're going to see a lot of Jonathan Kuminga. Led the preseason in total points. Shot the ball pretty well. Actually had a nice little spot-up game going as well. So I think Kuminga is, arguably the sixth man on this team, maybe fifth. We'll see if he can really get hot to maybe cut down some of Looney's minutes or something along those lines, because we know they're going to need that size. I think they've used him on Durant. The last game they had against Booker, it was actually Kuminga who picked up most of the matchup minutes. So I think Kuminga really benefits here. Dario Saric, so a lot of key closing minutes. I expect he's going to be a big rotation piece. Corey Joseph is going to be probably getting some of the non-Steph minutes, I would say, and probably non-CP3 minutes if they do kind of go that route. And then Gary Payton's locked in. Gary Payton kind of iced Moses Moody. Moses Moody just doesn't play early in the year. So, yeah. Mentioned the starters. That bench unit really strong. Should be Kuminga, Dario Saric, Corey Joseph, and Gary Payton, and then we'll see if Moody can kind of get in there.
All right, there you have it. In terms of true center minutes tonight, that's one of the big questions that you always have with kind of the Warriors and how they try to handle things. Is this something where Dario Saric and Kevon Looney would project for close to the full 48, or do you think we will see some iterations with Kuminga at the 5, or does Trace Jackson Davis play at all, or does Andrew Wiggins at the 5? Like, how small do you think the Warriors would be comfortable going?
Yeah, I think they'd be kind of planning to go in without using any to cover, maybe 46, 47 of those. I think it's largely dictated by if the Suns are going to go small. Now that they don't have Bradley Beal, probably a little less likely they do that, right? Just because, you're playing much worse players and the benefit's not really there as much. So I'd say they're going to cover pretty much the full 48 with Dario Saric and Kevon Looney. Trace Jackson Davis was really good. He had, this game on the screen, key plays, nice cutting, the dunks and all that stuff. So I think he's kind of next man in. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in, honestly, ahead of Moses Moody there. But I think they're okay. I think they'd be open to playing Kuminga as a 5-man. But again, a little bit. I think Beal not playing makes it just a little bit less likely.
All right. Well, that's it. Just a 2-game slate today. So we'll keep it short and sweet. As always, if you are enjoying our content, we would love for you to support us by pressing gently, holding firmly, smashing that like button. Helps feed the algorithm, which helps feed our families, and we can keep feeding you this free content each and every day. We'll be here throughout the NBA regular season as long as there are games on weekdays, which there are a few days without weekday games this year. We will be here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Subscribe to our channel, get notifications whenever we go live here. If you are not with us for this NBA DFS season, consider checking out the subscribe tab, getting more information on the DFS package. You can see the daily content schedule there that Mike is bringing up. We've got top plays 6 days a week. We've got projections for every game, every player, 7 days a week, live shows 5 days a week, behind the paywall, dissecting the slate, talking about ways to get leverage, talking about the best plays, ownership, all that stuff. And of course, we've got the props packages as well that we've done really, really well. And if you're on this YouTube channel, you can see one of the videos that we have posted is recapping last year's props success. If you are interested in subscribing to the props package, we please ask you to read the FAQ closely. You can see it's linked in that subscribe page as well there, because it's really important to understand the props lines move really fast. It can be difficult to get them. There are definitely challenges to signing up for the package, but if it works for you, it can be really profitable. So for myself, for Mike Gallagher, thank you all for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.